This is Undaunted.Life, a man's podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Let's get into it. Wil and Becky Smith, we're already having a good time. I've already messed up the intro at least once. Am I going to do it again?
No.
I don't think so. But here we are at Church 1122 in Jacksonville, Florida. It is 1 billion degrees outside, but both of y'all came in not sweaty. How did y'all pull that off?
Lots of air conditioning in the car.
Okay, lots of air conditioning in the car, and women don't sweat anyway. They just glisten.
Right.
But, we got some business to tend to tonight. But the reason I wanted to have y'all on, and we talked about it earlier in the show, is we're having on some people that have been in the Dominion program, and not just the guys that are in the program, but I wanted to talk to one of the ladies, get the ladies' perspective, a wife's perspective, and we actually have a really cool shared story that we'll get to here in a second. But before we get to anything else, I'm always curious how people found Undaunted.Life, found our content, why in the world they keep listening. So, when did you first find us? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. A buddy of mine gave me one of your cigars at a men's night. We were playing poker, and he gave me one of your cigars, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And he kind of said, "It's a podcast, and Joby's on there sometimes doing Ask a Pastor."
So this is another 1122er?
He's another 1122er.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was like, "Cool," and went home. A few weeks later, I was on YouTube, and I was like, "I'm going to look this up," and I found it, and I started listening to Ask a Pastor, and thought it was really interesting, and man, then I just started listening to back material and waiting for you to release new content, and I was hooked and just started listening, and then I became a monthly donor.
Yeah, it's really funny because with Joby, sitting here in this church, he has 74 assistants, I think, or maybe 75 at last count. But his assistants tell me, they're because they see all his emails, they're it's almost always, "Hey, we heard about you from either I was on John Cooper or Unashamed or something like that." But with his assistants, it's people are either just they found one of his books or they found him because he comes on our show all the time because those clips go out all over the place. And that's kind of a unique thing where you have a non-pastor and a pastor that kind of get along and they're kind of just doing a show, just cutting it up and whatever. And so when was he sharing content with you? Because we have a 5% lady listenership, but that 5%, they're gangster ladies. So when did you first become aware that this was a thing?
It was definitely through Wil. He started to tell me a little bit about the show and different things about you, and encouraged me to listen. Probably sent me a few links, and so I enjoyed it.
Well, and then it went way deeper because about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, I sent a secret email out, and Wil was one of the guys that got that email because I was kicking around this idea about, okay, people have consumed the show. They've read the devotionals. They've seen me speak live or something like that. But then it was always the same bit of feedback. Okay, Kyle, but we want more. We want you to help us individually, be equipped to push back darkness. We want you to help us cultivate spiritual, mental, physical resilience, whatever the thing would be. So I sent out a little email to a small group of my donors, and it basically said nothing. I don't know if you ever saw the email, Becky, but the email basically said nothing, and it said, "Email back if you're interested in nothing." And I got a bunch of emails back from these people. And then it was okay, well, fill out this little questionnaire and then hop on a Zoom call with me. And I pitched them on this program called Dominion. And I was very open about how, hey, I've kind of got this mapped out, kind of, but I'm looking for a group of killers, a small group of dudes that are going to help set the foundation for this program overall and help us figure out what it's going to look like so that we can extrapolate it out to the larger population. And so I guess my curiosity for you, Wil, because we talked about this, but it's been a long time ago, but what was it about those first couple of emails and then talking with me to where you were even interested in this nebulous idea of what Dominion could be? You know what I mean?
Well, I was so into the content that you put out and just the mission statement of Undaunted.Life, pushing back darkness, forging resilience mentally, physically, and spiritually. And when given the opportunity to become a part of that, I wanted to. Listening to your program, I wanted to do those things, be resilient mentally, physically, and spiritually, but you don't always know how to do that.
Right.
Sometimes it takes outside eyes to say, "Hey, you can do this, this, and this." Advice or coaching or whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to hear more. I wanted to be a part of it.
One, Becky, I'm curious from your perspective, because with this first group of guys, I described as much as I could describe, because the program is it's a significant investment of time, effort, capital, a bunch of stuff. And I was telling the guys, there will only ever be one team one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on it, for better or for worse, you're setting the foundation for this thing. And if it goes nowhere, it's ultimately my fault. But if it goes somewhere, y'all will always be team one. And so, like, I'm curious what those conversations look like, because you weren't on the calls with me, right? It was just Wil and I, like, interacting. And then he came to you with, probably this. I mean, if my pitch was kind of hodgepodge, I can only imagine what it was like, when you're playing telephone and it's kind of secondhand. But what was that conversation like? And then what kind of made you, because as I understand it, you were almost more comfortable with the idea than he was initially. Is that right?
I think
kind of.
If that's what he told you.
He didn't tell me that. I thought I had heard that. Okay. Maybe not. I might be mixing stories here.
Well, I would say that
maybe I didn't react in the way that you expected me to. Maybe he thought it would be a hard no.
A hard no, okay.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't a hard no.
It wasn't a hard no.
And
Okay.
instead it was definitely not a hard no. There, initially, Wil telling me about it, when he told me about it, he almost got a little emotional. So, like, I heard it. I heard it in his voice, just how important he felt like this could be. And I know his heart. I know that he wants what's best for me and for our children. And I had known for a while that he was really trying to find the best version of himself in different ways at different times. But typically, and I'll just use maybe jumping into something new, like maybe an exercise routine or something, or a way of eating, cutting something out, something like that. Just something that would be healthier physically. And he would do it for maybe like a week or two, and he'd be real pumped about it. And then without fail, it would just kind of dwindle out, and that's pretty common.
Super common.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Becky, you're hitting on a lot of the points. Like that's why we wanted to do this, because we kept having guys that were either confused about, okay, what now? Or they would get like real fired up, right? Real motivated about something, and they didn't know how to turn that into like a lifetime discipline. Mm-hmm. And that's how I'm wired. That's how I've acted over the long period of time. But when you talk to so many guys that keep having the same problems and the same struggles, to where it's like, okay, I need to help try to connect the dots for some people. So, long story short, you do become one of the first 10 members of Dominion Team 1. But now we need to fast forward to December of last year. This would have been in December of 2024. So I'm here in town in Jacksonville because the next day I'm going to be leaving with a group of guys from Church 1122 to go on the hunt encounter. So that's where they take, 2-3 dozen guys from the church. They do a hunting thing in Georgia, and I go with Joby every year. And so I was here the night before, and Shane just so happened to be here doing a Christmas concert. And I love Shane, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to come do the Christmas concert. And so Landon, our editor, shout out Landon over there. He's like, hey, just watch it in the sound booth. I was like, great. So I'm just watching it in there. As soon as the show's over, y'all both come up. And so I was like, oh, shoot, yeah, Wil, great to see you. But I had not met you yet. And so the three of us were sitting there chatting. It's literally about like 75 feet this way from where we're standing right now. And then someone comes up. I don't know who it was, but someone came up to talk to you. Was it Landon? Okay. So Landon comes up, super rude like, and comes and walks up and just busts into our conversation, starts talking to you. And then I look over at you, and you do one of these. And you just like square up with me and look me right in the eye. And I was almost like, oh, shoot, what did I do? I've seen eyes like that before, and it didn't always go well for me. And then you just go, thank you. And I didn't know what you were thanking me for. I thought, oh, for being here, for, supporting Church 1122. And I kind of said some meandering to that end. And you were just like, no. Thank you for your program. Wil is completely different than from when he started. And then you gave just a little bit of detail about the consistency, and like you're like, I've never seen him work out like this. I've never seen him take his Bible study seriously, like, leading us, like pursuing me, like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, you can't just cry in front of a stranger. But I was like, it was such a validating thing to hear, because it's one thing to hear from a guy, but guys' posture, guys will be like, oh yeah, things are going well and I'm crushing it in all these areas and blah, blah, and all that. But you can't fake it when you're talking to the spouse, right? And you had no really reason why you needed to offer up that to me, but you did. And it was almost like, even though Dominion had been going for several months, that was like the validating point to where I'm like, this is a real thing.
Cool.
Because like someone's wife
that's
was
amazing.
like, no, this is actually working. So I don't know if I remember it vividly. That may have just been like a nothing experience for you.
I
But
didn't really
but yeah,
remember it
going back to
vividly.
that time, and that was just a few months into the program. We're so much further now. And so I guess just I'd love to hear from both of you about, okay, what were some of the things that happened with you, Wil, early on that made you be like, okay, I'm burning the ships. We're doing this, and this, so much so that not only did Becky notice, but she felt the need to tell me about it.
Wow. Man, if I'm going to do something and invest my time, I'm going to give it my all. Especially when, it's such an investment, and when I've got you holding me accountable, I've got 9 other dudes holding me accountable
from all over the country.
From all over the country. And then to be team one, it's like you're setting the standard.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a giant responsibility. To you, to myself, and to those guys. And then, I've got a huge responsibility with my wife and my kids. And man, I just want to do the best I can by them. So yeah, it was kind of like, this is one of the most important things that I'm ever going to do. It's going to last a year. I'm here to learn. I'm here to glean from all the people we've met. I've got a notebook of notes, and we've got the recordings that you give us that we can look back on, and just having the accountability and just saying, hey, I'm going to study my Bible. I'm going to read books. I'm going to take working out seriously. Actually, one of the first things I did, and we've talked about this, is I signed up for the program, talked to you. We kind of stayed in contact before it actually officially began, but I went ahead and joined a jiu-jitsu gym because of your encouragement. You were like, just go do it. And I was like, okay. And you said, go to one that's good, the closest to your house, otherwise you won't go. And I've been going, every week since July of last year. And I love it. I've got the bug. And I want to be able to defend my family and defend weaker people and hold somebody down till the cops come.
Yeah.
He's going to get us all into it, apparently.
You're next. We brought you a gi. It's over there. Don't worry.
My kids too, man. My kids, I wish that somebody had done this way sooner. I wish I'd had this knowledge sooner. I wish I'm going to be the kind of, it's challenging me to be the kind of dad that's going to make my kids, it's going to help my kids, I guess. Help my kids follow the Lord. Know that, you can be a little bit weird. You don't have to do it the way the status quo is. You don't have to worry about what the world thinks about you. There's just important things, and I want to teach them what's important in life.
When Wil, as the head of the household, they're going to have a bunch of friends. They're going to have a bunch of coaches. They may even have a bunch of pastors. They get one dad. They get one head of the household. And so for Becky, for you, I mean, like I said, whenever you and I met for the first time, that was just a few months into this, and you were already seeing like such big changes. So what was it that you were noticing about Wil after he started the program?
To be honest, I'm not sure what exactly I was noticing at that time, because it's all.
Well, let's just talk about this, because we're here. We're at a year now, so
right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But definitely, Wil wakes up early before everybody else in the house and gets into the Word. Every opportunity he gets, he's reading the material that all the guys are in at that time, and sometimes rereading books. And he's always sharing with me, and it makes for great conversations in our house. We're both growing because of it as a result. I'm being poured into as he's being poured into, but in a different way, I'm sure. maybe just the way that the Lord intends for it to be. When a man is pursuing Him, when a man is pursuing the Lord, like Wil is, and like the program helps men to do. And so waking up early, the consistency that he didn't have before, where he would abandon ship. Sorry, I'm a little thirsty. He has started these things, and I mean, he's still going strong. It's not. I'm not really sure what exactly you've incorporated into this program that can cause this kind of a transformation. But also, there were quite a few things around the house that could have been done, right? And it's like he just gets stuff done, like constantly. He is just getting stuff done. And I don't mean to say that he doesn't know how to rest and enjoy his family. More so, he does. But he's just very productive now.
Hey guys, real quick. Do you remember during the pandemic when you basically couldn't get anything shipped to your house? All this manufacturing that was supposed to be taking place in America had been shipped overseas and you just didn't notice it. And I remember a bunch of companies saying, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we bring manufacturing back to America, and almost none of them followed through on that promise. But for me and for all of us here at Undaunted.Life, I wanted to make sure that I partnered with an American company that actually did want to prioritize American workers, their families, their communities, and a company that would keep their word. And that's why I want to remind you that we are partnered with Origin. Origin is an apparel company based in Maine, and what do they make? They make the best jiu-jitsu gis on the planet, and the only jiu-jitsu gis that are made completely in America. They also make jeans. Yes, they have stretchy jeans. They also have work jeans and bootcut jeans for you guys as well. They make amazing hunting gear. And here's the thing. I know you guys like some other hunting brands, but those companies are American companies that use overseas labor to increase their profit margins on their gear, not to help you or Americans out. They also offer handmade leather boots. That does include steel toe boots and mock toe boots. And they also make workout clothes and everyday pants and shirts and almost indestructible hoodies. And they're launching new apparel all the time. Guys, if you haven't already tried Origin stuff, you need to check them out and support a company that supports Americans. Try Origin out today by going to www.originusa.com. That's originusa.com. Use the promo code UNDAUNTED to get 10% off your order. Again, that's originusa.com. Promo code UNDAUNTED to get 10% off your order. Well, Becky, you're hitting on a lot of the things that, some of which were purposeful to the program and some of which just kind of evolved as Team 1 has evolved, and now we're on to multiple teams. But it's boring, consistent, disciplined movement in the exact same direction. That's basically what it is. Because, oh, great, you worked out for a month, neat, and then you took off the next 2 years, not neat. Okay, you may as well have not wasted any time that month. And so it's like getting the right mindset, and it's a mindset of execution. Like, we are going to execute on the things that we're doing, because at the end of the day, if you have all these great ideas, if you have all these great things that you would love to do, but you don't actually put them into practice, it really doesn't make any difference. And so I'm looking at the watch. We need to get to church here in just a second, because we are about to go watch Joby preach live about 1,000 feet that away. But just for the last thing here, there are some guys right now that have heard about the Dominion program. They've gotten the emails, they've gotten the text messages, and we've got people literally standing by waiting to look at the applications to see if people are fit, to set up calls for interviews, the whole 9 yards. But there are people right now that are on the fence about applying. Something's in the way. Something's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't even know exactly what this is. And so it's keeping them from applying. But then we're getting flooded with applications, so that's not a huge problem. But then there are people that go all the way through the process, and then we explain, okay, this is what it's going to take to be a Dominion man, to be in this program. This is the time, investment that we expect. This is the effort investment we expect. This is the financial investment that is required to be a part of this program. And it just is what it is. And some people are just on the fence. they don't know if they should jump. And so I would like to hear from Wil, obviously as a member of Team One, and then Becky as, a helpmate of a member of Team One, as to kind of what you would say to guys that are on the fence and what you would say to maybe gals that don't listen to my content, don't get super excited about the stuff that I do because, they're ladies and they're not listening. Go ahead.
First thing I would say is if there's something you feel like you're missing in your life, there's something you feel like you could improve upon but don't know how, this program's perfect for that. But one of the things that I've learned through this program is I can make excuses about so much stuff. I have stopped making so many excuses because, number one, I've learned how to do hard things. And when you learn how to do hard things and you see that you can do hard things, stuff becomes a little bit easier.
That's right.
It's not as hard anymore. So put yourself to the task. See what you can accomplish. Don't settle for something less than just excellence. The other thing is, James said it about the devil owns the fence.
Yep.
Get off the fence, man. We're at war. If you're a believer in Jesus Christ, you are at war. You have an adversary that wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And he wants to take your family. He wants to take you. He wants to take this world. But we serve a God who's way bigger. So we're on Team Jesus. And if you want to get in the game, get in the fight, Dominion's a perfect program to do it.
We need more men to be equipped to do that. All right, Becky, you get the last word. So
this is not the same person that I used to be married to. And it's a transformation that in my mind it's like a miracle. So it produces so much hope in me. And it strengthens my faith so much. When I see these changes, when I see what God can do when a person is fully surrendered, more surrendered than ever before, and somehow stronger and more determined than ever. And so it's a testimony to Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And
his power at work in you. And it doesn't just stop with Wil. It stops. It doesn't stop. It ripples out. It not only ripples out into the men's groups that you're involved with now, but first and foremost, it affects me because as Christ is his head, he is my head, and so. And then all that affects our children too, and really everyone around us in our community. So my hope and prayer is that this just keeps going. But I would say to women that are on the fence, I would say that you need to be aware that it's going to shake things up a little bit when your man walks with the Lord in this way. And so, but it is, according to Scripture, it is, and this is why I thanked you that day. And so it's going to be a little uncomfortable probably. You have to be willing to change too. And I'm praying for you.
Yeah, that's such a great sentiment. It's been so great to get to know you just a little bit because of the encouragement that you've been personally to me for the validation of this program. And Wil, just seeing where you were last year when we started versus to right now when we're wrapping up. Like, I'm just thrilled to have you as a member of Team One. And thank you guys for sharing your story. And let's go listen to Joby. I don't know if he's going to be any good, but we might as well go in there and see.
Sounds good, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a positive 5-star review. If you want me to come speak live at your event or on your podcast, just shoot me an email to info@Undaunted.Life. That's info@Undaunted.Life. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook, and check out our website for everything else, including how to donate to keep more content like this coming your way. Just go to www.Undaunted.Life. And as always, we want to thank the band Holy Name for allowing us to use their music for our content. The music on this podcast is their song Perpetua, which is off their self-titled debut album on Face Down Records. The links are in the description. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Remember, keep pushing back darkness, keep forging spiritual, mental, and physical resilience, keep seeking the Lion of Judah.